Yes, we are live. Hey, y'all. All right, so welcome to Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. You guys, we are so excited to be here with you today. And of course, have some great hot coffee topics. As always, we're going to get into some good stuff today. But before we do, I'm just gonna, I guess I'll start off, but we're gonna introduce ourselves and then introduce us, the room as a whole. So, hello everyone. I am Jamika Anderson. I'm CEO and owner of Harmony and Power Institute, where I help women and children who lack confidence and clarity achieve harmony and power within themselves so that they can create the life that they desire. I'm going to pass it over to you, Carmel.
Good morning. It's your girl Carmel. I am owner and founder of Seafood Coaching, working with women over 40 on their health and wellness journeys. And my goal is so that each woman that I work with feels healthy, sexy, and strong inside and out. Check out my YouTube, would appreciate it. I'll pass it to you, who's below me, beautiful Shelly. I yield.
Good morning, everybody from cloudy New Jersey. I am Shelley A. Carter, founder of Housing Ministry LLC. Y'all know what I do. I use my real estate banking and life insurance licenses to help make home ownership attainable and sustainable. Basically, as we said offline, I sell money, y'all. Come get some. Jamesia?
Hey, good morning, y'all. I'm Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. Let me tell y'all something. Trying to figure this out is interesting. Y'all know I'm a little challenged when it comes to this type of thing. But anyway, I'm Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm your intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer. Just uploaded another YouTube video. So go and watch my additional vaginal dryness video. I would love that very much. And I am 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Good morning.
And good morning, everyone. My name is Debbie Maisha, and I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist. I'm a teacher of sensual feminine energetics and sensual embodiment for women who are ready to align with their unique sensual expression so they can feel deeper into their power and create orgasmic lives in and out of the bedroom. And welcome. You are with Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. You are in the place where we drink our coffee strong and wear our lashes long. Ladies, we are the Black Coffee. Sometimes I live stripped with honey, and sometimes we got little grits, which means we have sass, class, and all of that as. We invite you to our live show here on Tuesdays where we are on video. We are also on the Clubhouse app Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 a.m. and also Saturdays at 11 a.m. So please join us there. Now, in our space, we like to have hot coffee topics. We are real women having real conversations. And most of the time, we do our best not to tell you what to do, but just to tell you what we do, though sometimes we cross the line because, we're Black women. But just remember, everything that you hear on this show, whether it's here or whether it's on Clubhouse or anywhere else, is a little mixture of information and infotainment. So take what belongs to you, leave the rest on the dance floor, and just join us for a good convo. Please feel free to comment. We read the comments and we do respond to them. Jamika, the floor is yours.
Oh, thanks. Listen, you're like, we don't tell you what to do. I'm like, I don't
That's
know.
what sometimes we do. We're Black
So
women, so that's how that rolls.
Look, guilty. It's okay. All right. So, you guys, my thing was to talk about perspective today. And let me tell y'all, baby, perspective is something I feel like this could be like a million and one conversations that we have. But perspective is very interesting. And so, it's two things that I want to cover. One, my question is like, I don't even think I have a question, but it's going to sound like it. But are you existing? Or are you just accepting? And you can take it however you want. You get what I'm saying? But like, are you really existing? Are you creating? Are you living? All this other stuff. Or are you just accepting what life has to give to you? Like, life is just throwing you, I don't know, whatever it's throwing you. It's throwing you lemons, and you looking at the lemons on the ground like, what? Like, what do I do with this? um, but that's a part of it, right? And we're gonna dive into it. But let me tell y'all what happened. So I was thinking about this. Can y'all hear me? Because y'all know I get a little low because
Absolutely.
I be ready to get into some business. So I was thinking about this. This was, in my head brewing for a little while. And then I just so happened to have to watch Keke Palmer and her interview with oh, I can't even think about the boy name. I'm gonna find it because I like Terrell something. But anyway, it's on YouTube. He does this thing. He interviewed, musical artists and all this other stuff. And in their interview, they were talking, and I felt like everything that I was thinking about, she was saying. I was like, she was spitting bars. I was like, Keke is spitting bars over here. She telling all the business, like she's in my head, telling everything. And y'all know, I be here for it. I don't even care. I be here for all the business being told. So one of the things, or a couple of the things that she was talking about, made me think about our conversation about being a good girl, right? And how, society tells us to be the good girl, quote unquote. And then at the same time, anytime that you do any actions outside of like good girl actions, they reprimand you, right? They're like, oh no, like you shouldn't do that, da 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 da. And so it kind of made me start thinking again about that perception and being, are you existing or are you accepting anything? Like, are you existing and you're creating the life that you really want to live? Or are you just accepting what other people are telling you and you're trying to live life by others' instructions? And I was like, dang, it's so many ways that we can go about this thing. So I'm just going to bring it to y'all and we could just have us a little conversation, because I think this whole idea about the good girl, and y'all know me and Maisha was talking about, killing the good girl, you know what I'm saying? Not killing y'all for real, but this idea of being the good girl. So what y'all think? Look, what y'all got on y'all mind? Because, I ain't trying to drive the car. I ain't trying to drive the boat, but I'm on the boat. It's on
You can be the driver. I'm good being in the back seat, passenger seat, in the caboose. Listen, I was living and thriving, and then I did fall into survival mode for a minute where everything was kind of on rinse and repeat. Wake up, do something, go to bed. Wake up again, do something again, and go to bed again. And somewhere in there, I figured out that I was doing that. And I just broke up with it. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but that is not how my life was designed. And I think what happened is I started connecting with different people. I've talked about this a little bit before. And I started paying attention to people who were coming to me as a resource. And I was helping get stuff done that I wasn't doing myself. And I'm like, that don't make no damn sense. This one, I'm watching this one do this one, and this one just launched that. And I'm proud and excited for them. I don't have that hateful, jealous energy, but I did have to say, wait a whole up damn minute. If you know how to tell people to do this, and these people followed your instructions and went and did ABC, well, why the bleep blank, whatchamacallit, are you not doing that? And I started taking my life back, and I'm excited for it.
I know that's right.
I love that. But
I love your hair.
Thank you.
Both y'all's hair.
Thank you.
Little Marilyn Monroe going on. Okay.
Look, Shelly, when you were saying that, it made me think about what helped me to transition to like speak up and to be a little bit more proactive for myself as well. Because I was sitting up there and I was like, all of my friends, like people I went to college with and things like that, they are one step away from, how they say, 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
They are 1 degree away from fame. Like one of the guys that I went to school with, he was on Wild 'N Out. He's been doing his movie thing. Well, actually, a couple of them have been doing their movie thing, but one in particular, I know people know. You get what I'm saying? And I'm sitting up here and I'm like, and one summer I saw him drop, maybe it might have been 2 years, but I saw him drop like 3 or 4 movies back to back. Then I was like, this one?
Yep.
And not to hate on him or anything like that, no, but it was just like,
it's not hate, it's an observation, and you're like, right. Oh, okay.
It's like you you did this? Like, I know I could do something. And like, even like my favorite, one of my favorite hairdressers, like when I seen him doing the tour, doing the Coachella with Beyonce, and I was like, shut the front door. Like, I remember us sitting in your chair, and you like, I got big dreams, and I'm like, go for it. Like, go ahead, move, move, do the move, go to, California, do this, da, da, da. And just so many others. Like, I just saw people consistently performing, right?
Yeah.
Doing what they want, but they went against what other people told them, because people will tell you real quick, like, you have something good with what you're doing now, don't leave that. Like, that's security. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like, yes, that's security, but at the same time, this is not where I stop. Like, this is not my end all. And so, it also made me think about this comment that Kiki said, and she was like, you don't belong to what anybody else thinks of you.
Mm-hmm. True that. True.
I need that on a t-shirt.
Like,
for real.
Right. I was just like, that's a whole word. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to drop y'all some bullets. Y'all know I be listening to folks. I'd be like, But it really made me think about that. What about y'all? Y'all got y'all good girl, ready to give over the good girl, turn a leaf story.
I don't know. I think sometimes we forget about who we really are, like who we really are, and who we want to be, and how we want to move, and how unique we are. And I think we forget that that's the most important thing, to just continue to be who we are and be unique. And sometimes we try to assimilate, and sometimes it feels easy. But once we assimilate and people knew us as a unique being, they're like, okay, they're happy you assimilated, right? Because they want you to be at their level. But then there's this, what happened to you? You used to be so, you know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you,
I said, I do.
Right. So to me, I think that it's important that we just continue to be ourselves, and we just continue to know that there's value in just being unique. And there's no need to assimilate into what Maisha thinks I should be, or what Jamika thinks I should be, or Shelly. Just be me, because I think that's what makes the world just so great. And so I think sometimes when you don't have that self-awareness, you try to do and be every single thing that society wants you to be, especially women. There's this push for women to assimilate to something that, because, that gets deeper. I'm not going to go into all that, but I just feel like we just need to break out. We just need to break out and be who we really are, and be okay with it. Because nobody's ever going to be happy with everything about you, just as long as you just stay unique. So that's my take on it.
The hardest part about being unique to me, I feel, is like it comes, I feel, with age and experience and learning who you are. And I'll speak for myself. I know that growing up, I was who my mother wanted me to be. I was who my father wanted me to be. I was who my family expected me to be. Like, there was an expectation how a young lady's supposed to behave, what a young lady's supposed to do. She's supposed to be able to cook, and she's not out in the streets like her brother, and she's home, and she irons her clothes every week to get ready for the week. That was what was expected of me. That was what I grew into doing. I was like, my mother is molding me, and I am fitting into that mold. And I lost my train of thought, but I feel like that's the first part of who I expect to be in my everyday life, and that still haunts me. And when people visit, or when people see us as a unit, or come across one of my mother's children, me for instance, oh my goodness, your girls are so good and they're so well behaved, and the look of pride on my mother, And not to take anything away from my mom, but I took pride in my mother's pride that somebody else recognized the good job that my mother did with me. So now I had this expectation to be a certain person. And because society is approving, oh, then that's the way I should be. When it's not necessarily the case. It wasn't necessarily the case with me until I'm just kind of like, well, damn, I'm fit. I fit into this mold until I got a certain age and I wasn't married with kids. And like, I'm not fitting into that mold anymore. Like, this is not what they wanted for me. My mother never pressured me, of course, nor did my father. Mom was amazing with that. But other people in the family did. Other people in general did. Even general society, right? My sister recently got married 3 years ago. We're pushing 50. And people still ask me, any kids? Oh, very possible, but not in the forefront when a woman gets married at 46, 47. That's definitely, that's the reality of it, right? And it's what society expects from people, even in the older ages. And even as we progress in life with experience and we mature and we become seasoned, people still expect certain things from us. And it's sometimes, in order to just keep the peace and not even have to deal with those types of questions, you politely say, not yet, or no, because it's a conversation that, you know what, if you're asking me that dumbass question, it's not even worth a conversation. Things of that nature, the expectations of people, and how now I'm just kind of like, it's not worth the conversation, not talking about it. And I'm going to do me, and I'm going to find my uniqueness and what makes me special so I can move forward in those steps. So that's my take on what Jamika started with and what Dr. J brought into the conversation.
But you know what's funny, Carmel, is that we say certain things. So one of the things you just said, you're like, in order to keep the peace, like, I'm not going to partake in the conversation. But you know, it's so funny that question still is tied to something deeper. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And not just with you, with me too, because that's what happens. Like, people are like, and I've always complained, people are like, well, when are you going to have kids? When are you getting married? And I'm like, bro, I'm 3 years old. Like, chill. I don't know what y'all want. Like, I just spent year 1 and year 2 with y'all telling me to avoid guys. You get what I'm saying? And now I just got into year 3, and now, you know, you ain't even asked me, do I need help getting a date? And you already telling me when I'm getting married. Like, get me somebody to talk to first. But the thing about it is, remember we talked a little bit about that nice versus kindness. You get what I'm saying? And people don't realize that you asking that question for me is not a nice and it's not kind, right? Because now you are placing your perspective, your expectations off onto me, where you probably don't have your life together at all. And so people then get upset because you know me, the me now, you know what I'm saying? The me yesteryear too. It was a period in the 20s when I got real nice, but I'm over the nice thing. I'm kind and I'm not nice. So I'd be like, so when are you I throw the question back at them at something else, so you can understand how rude that question is to me. You get what I'm saying? Or I ask somebody, why do you feel that that's a necessary question for you to ask me? So you're asking me about my vagina. So what else would you like to know about my vagina health? Like, you get what I'm saying? And people are looking and they're like, what? Da, da, da. You're literally asking me about my womb and my vagina. So you're asking me, who am I having sex with? Is that your business? You get what I'm saying? And then people are like, oh, wait, da, da, da. No, but that's the question that you're asking me. Mm-hmm. But it's just a nicer version of the question. Wow. You're literally sitting here asking me, who are you having sex? Who are you having sex with? And when are you going to allow them to penetrate
drop their seed,
or whatever else? And it's like, you're disgusting. Why are you asking me that? And then people are like, then they step back and they're like, it wasn't like that. Why do you have, no, you did it that way. So let's talk about your sex and your health life. Like, what do you have STDs? Like, are you using protection? Like, and then people start looking crazy, but I'm like, hey, be mindful of what you're saying to people, because yes, that seems like it's a nice thing to say, but you're so treading in territory that you don't need to be in.
Yeah.
And again, are we existing, right? Because that's me existing. Like, if you're gonna ask me some questions, let me ask you some inappropriate questions. Or are you just accepting what people throw at you? And
Right.
then people learn
Right.
very quickly. Don't ask for that.
Yeah.
Right, because you literally, by saying what you said, you're challenging the stereotype. So you're letting them know, look, just because it's stereotypical to do this or be this way, this is not my story, and nor should you be asking me personal questions like that.
That's so personal.
Yeah, and I didn't look at it like that. I was like, oh, okay.
I was today years old when I learned
that. I was today years old too.
Like,
the way you say it makes all the sense in the world, but because society says by this age, these are the expectations.
Yep.
Right. So
but then you have to say that too. Like, those are even if it's society, whoever, those are your expectations, and expectations are like goals. How can you give me a goal?
Right.
I don't work for you. My body is not yours. Right.
So
the body, it cannot produce what you want it to. I'm not that type of producer. Come sit me down with a musician or somebody, maybe I can rack up a tune or two, but I'm not that. That's not me. I'm not that girl. What I can produce is I can help you figure out what you got going on with your children, and I can teach them a little something. Or I'm gonna tell you that your children ain't, they might not have it. You might need to get them some additional help. But whatever it is, what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna be in my bedroom.
Or in your business, but they do it across the board. You're having babies. How's that big trend? How's your little business? What? And I listen to some older people, and I'm like, oh, that really was a thing. But everybody's telling you what to do, and it's comfortable, right? They say like minds and all that other stuff. People want to be comfortable with you, so they want you to be like them. They want you to fit into their box. It's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to say, one, I don't fit in any box, and if you try to put me in one, I'm going to destroy it, that's uncomfortable. That's scary. What do you mean? Well, what is it? You'll see when you see. When I do what I do, when you see me at the next wedding, funeral, or barbecue, we could talk. Now, what they could do is actually just ask you questions and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about what you're doing. Do you want to talk about it? But instead of asking you who you are, they want to tell you who to be. I'm not open for that.
And it's hard for some people to ask open-ended questions because they don't understand, like that's not something that they were taught to do. They've been told, this is how life is supposed to go. And it's even funny sometimes because people will be like, oh, you should have kids. And I'll be looking at them and I'll be like, do you know you look miserable? Like, you always calling me to babysit. If I have kids, I'm not going to babysit yours because everybody's kids don't act the same. Your kids might not get along with mine. I can't handle your badass children and then deal with my angels. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, no, it's just not gonna happen, baby. So do you want and she, the new me, like my friend, one of my good friends, the new me, she is not the babysitter. I don't even want to lie to y'all. She's not the babysitter. Now, if you would have caught me 10 years ago, I used to be here for all the babies. You living off the land. We all grown over here. Everybody, everything that comes through here, you got to learn. You got to already know how to wipe your own behind because I don't do that. I don't want nothing that I got to work hard. All I want to do is be able to tell you where it's at. So if you ain't tell you where it's at age, I don't want nothing to do with it.
That's a good age though.
And it's different for everybody. Like my nephew, he turning 4. He good at it. He's smart. I ain't gonna say he's smarter, but he got more common sense sometimes. Sometimes I be wondering. I be like, is you the little brother or the big brother for real? Like, hello. But he grown. He a whole grown man, and I be here for all of it, honey. The only thing he can't do is really be at the stove like that. But baby, he was cracking eggs and everything. He was like, Auntie, let me do that. All right, honey, come on.
And he's 4.
Yep. Well, he'll be 4 next month.
I yesterday I was remembering being at home. We talked about being latchkey, and I don't want to take us too far off topic, but I remembered being at home and an incident that happened when my dad called and I answered the phone at 8 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't see myself leaving this boy at home at 8. And like, I just can't imagine. I don't know if the house or him would still be here. It was just like, that's not gonna happen. Different times, different children. But see, you're still letting that. Did you let him crack the eggs?
Yeah, I did. He didn't let him wash the dishes, baby.
Now,
If whatever he said he wanted to do, I was like, all right.
Somebody
Let's
else
go.
would not have let that little boy crack those eggs.
That's
And
how they learn.
That
They
is
grown
the
around here.
difference.
Mm-hmm.
They real grown. I went and got the step stool. I said, come on, baby.
We have a blue step, and we put it up to the sink, and we put it up to the stove, and we're careful. We cook on low, but if he wants to help in the kitchen, I'm gonna let him. But that still goes into what you're talking about. You know, oh, kids can't do that, or wait, it's not time yet. Says who? If that 4-year-old man wants to crack an egg and help Auntie cook, just let him be. Just keep him safe.
Mm-hmm. Because guess what? All of us were probably doing stuff before our time. Stuff we
I was
grown.
At 8, I was grown. Like, baby, I was watching other folks' children. I've been grown my whole life. I remember being 4 years old talking trash, like looking at people like, did she just talk to me like that? I always have an attitude. I might not have said it out loud, but I remember.
You might have said it out loud.
Probably, but I'm just saying.
Like
I
that little
remember
girl
fussing at me. I just walk out the door, walk around the corner. I know this lady did not go off on me like that. I remember little stuff like that.
Like that little girl who, when her mama said, "You see any fat people?" And she was like, she said, "I'm talking to you." She said, "There's one right in front of me."
She sure did say that, didn't she? You asked the question, and Mom knew what the answer was going to be, so it just is what it is. Oh my God.
But look, I was waiting on Maisha, but I'll say this one thing too.
I was just thinking that Maisha's been quiet.
Because real life, right? So when we're on Clubhouse, I have a minute to gather my stuff, my thoughts, my life together, and being on video takes a little bit more energy. And I all I'll say is dealing with my mother and her health issues takes a lot of my energy, and it's taking a lot more of my energy. So being on camera is just like I got all the energy to be here. I don't know that I have all the energy to be here and be as like vocal as I normally would be, because y'all know we're just real women. And as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about like as I'm listening to each one of you, I'm tracking my own life, and it's like, well, where did it come to point when I decided I wasn't going to meet anyone's expectations? And I think the gift, odd as this may sound, the gift of depression and a suicide attempt is that no one's going to fuck with you after that. It was let's just let Maisha do whatever Maisha gonna do. We don't want to give her no expectations. We don't want to do nothing because we don't know what's gonna happen. We just all the hands are off. It's also a downside to that. And so me leaving college, because that was not expected. I'm the eldest child and the eldest grandchild. I went to private school. That was not expected. Me leaving college, me trying to end my life, folks was like, we're not gonna ask you no questions. You could just go ahead and do what you want to do. So I just went ahead and did what I wanted to do, which was the same thing I was doing anyway, but I didn't have the constraints anymore. And because I got married so young, which again, that was everybody saying, Maisha, gonna do what you want to do, when they really should have been kind of in my business at that point. But me getting married so young and having children, I've never had that conversation with anybody. There was never the conversation about when you're going to get married and have kids. Had there been that conversation, I already know what my answer would have been. I'd have been like, it's not happening. Y'all need to be looking at somebody else. And I wouldn't have thought a thing about it. I've never felt like I needed to fit into what everybody in my family said. And in fact, one of my strengths and weaknesses is that if you tell me there's a box for me to be in, I will purposefully not get into that box. If you tell me this is how Black women are supposed to be, I will purposefully be as far opposite as possible. I will do everything anti everything you have said, because I am not going to fit into whatever you think. I'm not going to be just part of like the masses. There's a good and a bad side to that, because sometimes it means I get my own way. But I have never liked to. I tell you, my mother's like, iron your clothes as soon as I could. There was no ironing happening. Do this with your hair as soon as I could. None of that was happening. Well, you should wear this and that or the other as soon as I could. None of that was happening. And I would be very clear that because what happened was with parents, it would be how you are is how people will perceive me.
Right.
And I was kind of like, no, how I am is how people will perceive me. And you handle that, because I don't know what to tell you. But I'm not going to act a way so people will think you're a certain kind of way. Like we're not doing that. Where that came from, I don't know. I really don't. But like I said, it's a strength and a weakness sometimes. So yeah, I just leave it at that.
Maisha, about the ironing, I don't even own an iron anymore.
Okay, I'm not going that far, Carmel.
What?
Hear me right here. But it's in my bedroom, because my children, much to my mother's dismay, she'll be like, you don't make them iron their clothes. I'm like, no. You don't make them make their bed? No. Because here was my answer. Why do I have to make my bed when I'm gonna get back in it? Now I know how to make a bed. You put the thing on there and it's fine. And some days I make it and some days I don't. But I'm like, who am I impressing? Who's coming into my bedroom? Like, who cares that my bed is made? So there were things that I just never did. And it was the same thing with grades, any of that. I tell my kids, that's your business. That's on you. My good mothering is not dependent upon all of your behavior. So I don't need you doing things for me so I look good. I'm gonna look good regardless. Do you want to look good for you? Because you're doing this for you. You're not doing it for me. So I don't make them behave in a way so that people will be like, stop that. You're making me look bad.
Yep. That's the way I grew up.
My indoctrination was something else, honey, because we used to. Now I'm a different breed these days. Like I agree with you. I'm with you on the same page where like a lot of stuff what we did when we grew up, I don't do now. Or I don't do it as often. But baby, my grandmama them used to be like, if you don't make that bed up, why? Well, if something happened to you, they got to come put you in the bed from out the hospital and or the people, it's an emergency. You got to change your drawers. You need to
right, yeah, because EMS is gonna look as they're working on me, you're gonna be like, oh, did you see her underwear? Do I care? Save my life.
That's need to be the thing. You need clean drawers. You need to make sure you make up your bed. You need to keep a clean house. You need to all the stuff, all the things. Like I hated ironing when I was younger. Like it's not the only thing my stepdaddy was really good at, but that was like the top 3. You know what I'm saying? He ironed them clothes, and I used to be like, I'm allergic, so I real deal. I was allergic to ironing, baby. I put mine right there. I'd be like, hey, I switch out with you. I wash your dishes or something. I don't know what it is, but I'm not ironing. Him and my daddy. My daddy used to have a good, the good old school iron. And I'd be like, can you iron mine too? Look, why they doing, can you iron mine too? Thank you. Look, but one of the things, Maisha, you were talking about like getting out of the box, you said a lot of stuff. And I was like, dang, Maisha, you always be with me. Look, when you're with me, you're with me. But one of the things that I was thinking about is like college, when you talk about that. And I was like, for me, I think college is a great experience, but college can break you. And I mean that just like how it sounds. It breaks you and it molds you. Like I went through kindergarten through 12th grade, and I still had my own person. I was still my own person. But in college, when you get away from your family, that nuclear, you know what I'm saying, center, you are with all these other people, and people start to tell you they have more influence. And within that, you start to take on certain things that people say. Like for me, I always had facial hair, and different things like that with PCOS and whatnot. And people would talk so much trash. And so, or with me being plus size, people would talk trash. And I think I wanted to get ahead of it. So I would make the comments before they could make it, because I was like, there's
Mhm.
nothing you can say that could be anything worse than I haven't already heard. So let me cut you at the knees. You get what I'm saying? But then what that made me realize, well, later in life, I realized that I was internalizing what a lot of other people were saying. And then one of the comments that, like I said, what Kiki was saying the other day was, do not allow other people's perception. Do not allow other people's perception of me to be the perception I hold for myself. And I think that we do that, right? Like, even like what Carmel was saying, people tell you, oh, well, why don't you have kids yet? Or when are you going to get married? And it's like, even though they're just asking those questions, it also is a perception that you aren't enough. You get what I'm saying? Or that something's wrong with you because you haven't done X. And we internalize those things unknowingly sometimes. Like, well, why haven't I had a child? You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody around here popping out babies. She ain't even got a man. She ugly and she got about 5 of them, or whatever. It's like, is it broken? Something like that. Like, you do, at some point, you internalize these things. Maybe I should have a man. Maybe I should accept what a guy just gives me, right? Because a lot of times people don't understand, like, I'm still discovering me and still trying to get rid of things that have been placed on me. Like, to me, you should, by 25, crazily enough, in 5 years, I'm 5 years old. Because think about it, from birth to 18, 20, you're in your parents' house. By 25, they're telling you should have a full-time job, you should have a house, you should have a car, you should be married, you should have 2 kids, your life should be this movie. And it's like, it's not. And so people have these quarter life crises where they're looking around and they're like, my life isn't reflective of what people told me it should be at this point. And so then there's all these mental breakdowns and disturbances, because it's like, well, I should have had the job paying me $50,000 by now because I went to college, and I'm still here making $25,000 like this other person.
And to add in social media on top of that, the social media pressures.
Yeah.
And then by 34, you should be a millionaire, have a plane, have a mansion in the back, the dog, 2 more kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, real deal. They'll really make you feel as though you are not enough, and you're unconsciously saying, I'm not enough, and you're repeating whatever other people say. Oh yeah, I should have done this by now, or I should be here by now. And you're like, especially for me, I've done all the things that everyone told me I should do. So why isn't it showing up the way that it should?
I definitely, that is something that I definitely struggle with, the idea of where I'm supposed to be, at 49, where, where what I should have accumulated, or what my life should look like. And I really have to, in those moments, I have to shut that voice up and remind myself of the same thing that I tell my children, which is, life is not linear. Right. Time is not linear.
Right.
You're not in competition with anybody else. Your life's journey is their journey, because my daughter has friends who have their own apartments. Mind you, they don't live in New York City. Nobody she knows who lives in New York City has their own apartment. Adults who live in New York City don't have their own apartment, right? So the people that she knows, that like they live upstate where the rent is cheaper. You know, it's a different lifestyle. But she thinks to herself, oh, well, they have that. She didn't finish school yet, right? And she might not. I don't know. She says she kind of wants to. I don't know. And she's like, but she's behind. I'm like, behind. And then I look at her like, hello, behind what? I just got my degree in 2020. Behind who?
Right.
And according to what? Like, what are you trying to do with your life? And there is this timeline that people that's given in an effort to, in my opinion, in an effort to just make us more productive bodies. Like no one actually cares about the timeline. Really, it's just been set up this way. So we get out into the workforce, we get hooked into the system. We have our mortgage, so we have to go to the job. So we have to do the things. So we don't end up actually having any freedom. And I tell my children all the time, there's no reason for you to leave here unless you're fully self-sustaining. Other cultures don't kick their kids out. I don't see why I need to do the same thing. Multi-generational families live together. I don't know why we're not continuing that trend. Why would you go pay somebody else rent someplace else when you can pay me rent here? That makes no sense to me. So take out of your mind this idea that, oh, by the time I'm such and such age, I'm supposed to have this. Just like I've told them, I don't need none of y'all to have kids. I don't need any of you to get married. Do it if you wanna. Don't do it if you don't wanna. Figure it out. But there's no expectation that I'm putting on you of what your life is supposed to look like. That's your life. So when I start to feel that way, when I start to get into that comparison trap of, oh, my life is supposed to look like this externally, I have to remind myself that I'm on my own journey internally, that my path may not be other people's paths. My path may not be, I'm supposed to be a millionaire. And if it is, that's great. And if it's not, that's still great. My path might not be, I'm supposed to own 5 homes. If it is, that's great. If it's not, that's still great. But this idea that my path might be that I came here to just really be involved in self-discovery and experiences. That might be my path. I'm just here to experience different things and just, meet new people. And maybe I'm just an explorer. I don't know, but I'm open to it instead of trying to fit into what somebody says. And I realized as you were talking to me, I was like, no one person ever come to me since my divorce and been like, so when are you getting married again? Do you have a man in your life? Are you seeing anyone? I've never had that question. Ever. And I was just like, and it was not an expectation. But so maybe I'm just here just to like do exactly what it is that I'm doing and just be. And I'm just leave it at that.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's those experiences too. Like I think it's like you check it off, and it depends on the people who you have around you. You get what I'm saying? That's definitely one thing. But it's kind of like those experiences, like you check it off. Like I remember I was at my friend's grandmother's house, and she and I both don't have any kids. Like she was the one who was like, I am not the babysitter, but she done been that way her whole life. Like, I don't want no kids. I'm not the babysitter. Don't ask me about none of this. She did sneak off and get married. Just telling her business. But then our other friend, she had a baby. And I remember her grandmother being like, oh, so when are you going to have another baby? Because, of course it's like, he needs siblings, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I don't know. And then I was like, well, why you ain't asking me when I'm going to have a baby? Because we're all the same age. You get what I'm saying? And she was like, honey, if you ain't had one by now, you might as well not have one because it's going to be hard to push it out. You're going to be da-da-da-da-da. It was all this stuff. And I, of course, being me, I was like, I don't think that's fair. I think that you feel some kind of way, but I don't think that's fair. You done told her to sit up here and have a whole nother baby. You think I can't put olive oil down there and just let that baby slide out? Like, me, I was just, I just say some random stuff. And she was like, okay, she was just like, okay, Jamaica, whatever you want to do, like whatever. But it's just funny how, you can be at the same age level as people. And you know, people still have they see you certain ways, right? They have their own idea of who you are, who you should be, how you should act. And you know, they want to foster that within you, although they allow other people to live a little bit more free, right? And they want them to flourish and do other things. But you know, one of the things I think about it is like the good girl, being that good girl. But as soon as you have a bad action, right, you do something that does not relate to what it is that they want, then it's all about the reprimanding. Oh, you should know better, you should do better, you know, it's all these other things. And it's like, as soon as I no longer serve you and serve your benefit or your interests, then you don't want anything to do with me.
Wait, can I throw something in real quick? Because as you were talking, I was thinking, and we really don't realize how powerful we are as women. We don't, and how much we actually run things. Where, as you were talking, Jamika, part of what I'm realizing for some women is because they've been conditioned to live life a certain way. If you don't live it that way, they feel resentful that they weren't able to say no. They want you to have your kids quick or get married quick. They don't want to look at Carmel's freedom of life because a lot of women did not want to get married and have children. They did not want to follow along with that. And they did. And then they're looking like, oh, especially Carmel. Oh, look at her. And look at her life.
Single, independent, free, can come and go and do whatever the bleepity bleep she wants to do. Doesn't have to get a babysitter.
And she's talking about meal prep. Well, of course she's meal prepping. She's got time. She ain't got
what can we do? What
everything
can we do to bring those women down a peg?
That's so true, Maisha.
You're not good enough. Oh, you didn't do the things I did. Oh, you're not all full woman. You know, you really need to be doing these things like I did. And deep down inside, they're like,
oh, there's like, Maisha, I got to piggyback on that because I got to tell you, I find that there's a faction of women who have been raised to believe, told, encouraged, nudged to believe that they are nothing unless they are with a man. You've got to get a man, and you need a man to do this. It is a man's job to do that. It is, you know, how well do you have, what does your husband do? They will ask a woman what your husband does before they will ask the woman what she does. And if you are of that faction, of that mindset, and they feel like their husband got something, they ain't got SHID. But their husband got something. So and I'm like, okay, and if and when you guys part, are you ready to just pick up and go and continue? Or are you going to be living on alimony? Are you going to be in the corner crying? And again, we all go through our experiences. But if I am independent and doing it or thinking it, even if I have my man, but I have an independent mind. I don't see his business or his success as my success. I want we to be successful. I don't want him to be successful where I get to say, oh, our business, this. I do say us and we, but I work with him. I get paid. When that business gets paid, I get checks. I do work. I earn it. But I don't have my guy just sitting there doing all of the work and me claiming all of the we-ness. And then if he leaves me, I'm just ass out on the bottom of the road. Boo-hoo, what do I do now? I'm going to pick my ass up and I'm going to keep trucking. And I'm not going to judge them because they lean into their male relationships. But some of them, multiple friends, family, people I meet in the street, like I said, they have a firm belief that their worth is rooted in their husband or their guys, whatever. And I just don't believe that. And I have had way too many debates or had to just walk away because of that simple mindset shift. I'm like, I'm not here for it.
But right. And you're not here for it. And I think that that's the thing. that makes this group of women unique, because it's okay for them to be that way.
It is.
Of women, it is okay, but it's also okay for this faction of women to be okay.
Mhm.
So it's everybody can do as they need to do to exist and be happy, but don't be judging somebody else because they're doing the thing that you think you should have did or you missed out on or whatever. And nor will I be judging this person over here because they want to, just be with their guy and let their guy do everything. So, it is what it is. Real women.
And there are multiple scenarios. You guys hear me say often, it's right if you say it's right.
That's right. It's right if you say, there's no, just like Jamaica said the other day, there's no right or wrong. It just is.
But they like to tell you their way is right, but your way is wrong. I have a problem with that.
But that makes people feel better. So that and this is why it's not necessary to argue with folks, right? Because if you have the more someone has to prove their rightness, the more wrong they actually feel.
Right, absolutely. And when you know that, you can just let it. When you know that, you can just let it ride, because eventually it will reflect back on them, and they're going to think about it. That's not your job. Your job is to continue to be you, because you're going to give them the opportunity to branch out if they want to or not. That's it. It's not your job. Your job is to be you.
No proselytizing life here.
But I mean, and like what you guys are saying, it's really all about control and manipulation. Mm-hmm. And y'all always know my favorite line is, people who can't control themselves always want to control somebody else. Y'all know that's my favorite line, because like what you say, when I got stuff to do, I got stuff to do. I can't worry about you, your mama, your daddy, everybody else. And people feel like that's rude too, when you're not putting them in the spotlight, when you're not, focused on them and what their perspectives are or whatever else. People feel like you're being so rude and, oh, well, you're ignoring me, or oh, da da da. And it's like, no, baby, I don't have time for you. I'm currently living my life. So you should do the same for you and figure out whatever that looks like. Make it happen. And what I like about this group too is that we are each other's support system. Mm-hmm. Right. We have cultivated this and will continue to cultivate that. And the support system is what makes a difference in your life. And you have to understand, and y'all know I love talking about community. You have to understand what people are there in your space for. So you have a group of people who are there to encourage you, celebrate you, support you. But then you also have people who are there to correct you. Right. And like what Maisha was saying earlier, somebody probably should have been in my business telling me, hey, snap out of it. But I think that so it's two things, right? Because it was a couple things that I wrote down, but one of the things that I was thinking about that goes with this is that sometimes we can't focus on who the people are who are telling us certain things, because like what you were saying, Maisha, people create this box. They tell you this is how you should be. And as soon as they create the box for you, you're like, I'm going to break this box down. I'm going to break out all of X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. And sometimes we're not hearing what the person is actually trying to say because of, or we're not hearing the message that should be received from it, because we're so busy trying not to fit into something, or on the other end of the spectrum, trying to fit into something, right? Which is what we were talking about, right? We were so, well, initially I was so, because y'all know I love the I statements. I was so busy trying to be all the things, right? I had the burden of trying to be the first to be successful, but it's not a burden. Well, success is different for every person. And my family, after, you pull yourself back and you look at it, y'all were already successful. It's just that it was coming in at a different way, because people would tell you, go to college, then get a job. If you go to college, you could be able to do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but if the end goal is to make money, why didn't you just keep the store open and allow me to work the store? Mm-hmm. Or at least allow that to be an option where you know, I can also manage this business and turn this business into a company, you know, and grow this. And then some people have the opposite. Their family already have established businesses and companies, and it's like, get your life right so you can work in this business and you can take over when I retire or whatever else. And then they're so busy trying to do sometimes the opposite. It just depends on where the pressure is at. But I think as women, especially Black women, we take on the burden, right, of trying to be successful, trying to be a workaholic, trying to, you know, be the parent, the best parent. Because, you know, we talked about that too. Everybody's trying to be that thing, trying to be the best wife or confidant, you know, and not understanding that we can also take it easy. You get what I'm saying? Not
Let's go
understanding
get this book.
that you can
I
relax.
know. I want that book too.
What's that one?
Rest is resistance. And
Yes, you put it in our chat. I'm gonna go
She
get
did
it.
a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that's the thing is that you can have it just as easy. Just like I told y'all, y'all know me. I'm big. I be like, listen, y'all, I'm about to sleep in because sis is tired. It's rolling up on her. Sis, look, sis is not here for the foolishness, honey. Sis need a sleep in couple hours. Look,
I think for Black women especially, we really need to do that. I mean, as I read this book and then I look at a lot of stuff and I really do understand where the 30-year-olds are coming from with that hashtag soft life, though some people are taking it way too far. Like, ma'am, you just want to be a sugar baby, okay, and just say that. But there is something to the fact that we have been so conditioned and programmed to work so hard. We have been so conditioned and programmed. Somebody told us a lie that we had to work 2 and 3 times as hard, you know, as our white counterparts to be seen. And when you once you have that in your mind,
girl, we ain't gonna do
you
that.
will see it everywhere. I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
I've heard it plenty of times, and I'm over it.
I have to, and I'm not sure that it's. I don't think it's fully. I don't think it's fully a lie. I do think that the way we take it on as an armor and a shield is the lie. I know. I hear it. I know you're not gonna do it.
I'm not. You know what?
It is very uncomfortable for, especially because I think Maisha, me and you know, I think we're on total different ends of the spectrum when it comes to rest and relaxation, right? And I think it's very uncomfortable for someone like me to rest and relax because of whatever. And you're right to a certain extent, but I still also think that we do have to work harder. I do.
But you know,
I read the book. I see your face.
No. Well, because here's the thing. Because we're working harder because we're trying to fit into a system that told us we're supposed to be in that system.
Right.
I ain't trying to fit into no system. I just want a certain lifestyle. I
understand, and then we want a certain lifestyle in part because we've been taught that's the success. This is
what I saw from.
This is the success. So we will get degree after degree after degree after degree after. They're not getting a hold of.
Just bored.
We will work and we will work and we will work, and then by the time we're 80, we've worked, but we have not actually enjoyed the life of living, trying to fit into a society. Like some people are like, I want a seat at the table. I'm like, I don't want to sit at nobody's table that don't want me. I'm gonna build my own table over here with people who love me. You understand? And we've been
sit at all the tables. I want to sit at all the tables.
Right, but we've been taught that we have to do that. It's not. We've just been taught that we have to do that in order for us to be successful. And in doing so, we continue to feed our bodies into a system that sees our bodies as a commodity. We now perpetuate this by driving ourselves to, I got to do more. I got to have more. I got to get further and further away from whatever it is that I came up with, grew up with. I can't, and I'm not saying people shouldn't eat. There's a way for us to eat and be in community with each other, and so we don't have to stress. But we've bought into a lot of a system that does not work for Black women's bodies, that does not work for Black women mentally. And we lose our hair, we lose our sanity because we're trying to fit into a system that is not designed for us. And then we don't rest. And then, so when are we going to enjoy this life?
What
that we
system
worked hard
is
for?
designed? What system is designed for us? There's no system designed for us.
But you create your own.
But we
Right.
get to create our own.
You have nothing else to create it from except from what you've known. So that's where you create it from.
And that's where you start.
But whenever you feel
I
it,
see.
right, like, I think that we also we diminish our feelings a lot in order to maintain and to keep up. So if I'm like what I just said, if I'm feeling tired, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I woke up today, and I'm like, bro, just roll over. At some point, I'm gonna text y'all and be like, listen, I got to roll over because I'm tired. You get what I'm saying? And I need that time. But the system would say, no, you got to show up, you got to work. Just like how we were before. You guys were like, girl, we just started. Like you got to put in work, you got to do. And I'm like, girl, I'm not gonna do that. Girl, well, I'm with the school system.
Everybody's depending on us. We got to be there. If we don't show up, we're gonna let everybody down. We have to do it.
People
we got to do it.
Kick rocks with Reeboks. I don't know, open toe sandals or something. I ain't got it.
I want to give it a different perspective though, because so all right, look at one of my jobs. So loan officer, you're supposed to go call 100 people and ask 100 people for business every day, and then hopefully one or two of them will give you business, and then hopefully after you've got one or two a day, so you've got 10 a week, maybe one or two of those will stick. That's kind of backwards crazy, but that is literally the work that goes in. And other than the emotional reward, you do get paid for it. But I mean, it's not earth-shattering income, especially when you're dealing with a banker or someone else. But now imagine going to a group saying, hey, can I go to talk to your group of Deltas? Hey, can I come to the teachers conference and talk to all of the teachers? For me, it's also about how we're taught. We're taught this hour for hour, minute for minute. And one of the reasons you hear all of these people saying, teach a class, start a class, is because you are evergreen. You are creating a smart use of your time, and you are reaching the masses with the same energy and the same effort. We haven't been taught that. And that's still the same thing that's being said. Everyone wants you to do things their way, the normal way, the old way. And depending on what the job is, I heard you guys say, because I'm navigating school and breakfast, it's listen, in some arenas and in some spaces, it happened to me yesterday. I say things that seem contrary, but when you are being revolutionary in a place where everybody thinks that they've already designed the best and they've got it, and then you bring a new idea, they're going to try to close you out sometimes. So that's not how we do it. That's not how it's done. But in some spaces, we're going to have to admit that whether you're a woman, whether you're an African-American woman, you're going to get pigeonholed. But when we get ourselves in the right mindset, when we start sharing our wins, when we start sharing our process, if I can figure out how to do something that used to take me 8 hours and I can do it in 4, I would teach my loan officers, you've got 4 hours to touch a loan. People in my business get so tied up that they want to nurse that one deal every single day, and they don't go work on new business. They're just working on waiting for that one deal to close. No, do your part, pass it off to your team. So that's the next thing. We're not using teams. You said that we as a unit, we know what we can go to each other for. I'm really grateful for the time you guys have given me in the last couple of days. I needed help. I asked for help. We're taught that we have to be this atlas with the world on our shoulders, and we alone must do all of the doing. We can't share a shoulder. What a relief it would have been if the world was balanced, one shoulder here, one shoulder there, and we're splitting that weight. There are better ways to do things. Some of us have discovered it, but we're so worried about letting our secret out, so worried about competition, so worried that somebody might steal our shine in a world where there's more than enough people for all of us to win.
True that.
That maybe you might be holding yourself back by not telling people what you got going on, because you could do one on your own and together we could do 21. The exponential benefit of having a percent of 21 transactions versus your one transaction, it's not worth being selfish. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
No, and we were once as women like that. We would do that more in community, and the more we got sucked in the 70s and 80s, especially, the more we got sucked into, wanting to climb everybody else's ladder, the more individualized we became. I can't let anybody know what's going on here. I got my stuff over here. She has her stuff over here. We got poured into this system that took away our sense of community, that took away us coming together, dealing with depression or dealing with whatever we're dealing with by ourselves, because we thought we had to do all this on our own, because we had to show up to work a certain way. So we can't let the other folks know what's going on here, because then they're going to say a certain thing. We can't be angry at work, because then they're going to say a certain thing. We can't be sad at work. Then we transfer all of this into our lives. And I get it. I understand the cost analysis that people are getting. I've created my life at a huge financial disadvantage, but my mental health was always more important. And as much as my mother and others would have loved for me to be climbing, a ladder that I would have had to have blisters on in order to get somewhere, I preferred, that's just for me. And I'm not saying it's better or worse. I said it came at great financial disadvantage, but the flip side was that my personal mental health for me was better. And when I look at so many of us, I see now, and especially those of us over 45, I see now women saying, well, damn, I've done all this and poured all this into it. Where am I? Where's my life in all of this? I have, tried to fit the box of what everyone else told me I needed to do to be successful. Because again, there's this one idea of what success is that most people have been given, but it comes at such a great personal sacrifice to us as women, and health sacrifice to us as women. I wonder if it's really truly worth it. Is it worth it to fit in that, to fit that box? Is it worth it for us to continue to be in that? And that's why, to me, the woman who wrote this book, and she's great, she's a Black woman, she's like, if y'all don't go sit down somewhere and take a nap, if y'all don't go sit down somewhere and wake up and go, you know what, I'm not available for anything today, and do nothing. But we've taught that that's so lazy. I was taught that was lazy. Like I couldn't just be doing nothing. It was lazy, right?
It's hard for me to take a nap.
Right. And I think that the gift for me in some ways was going to high school with predominantly white people. It was the way they approached life was just very different. And maybe that influenced some of, how I ended up, I'm sure it did. I'm 14 years old, learning that. And that was like me going away to college, because I didn't go away. That was me going away to college from 14 to 17. And to see how they just kind of moved, I was just like, oh, so maybe that's why that part never got to me. But as a child, are you kidding? Are you reading a book? If you're not reading a book, you're doing this. If you're not doing this, you're doing it. Like daydreaming, not too much, right? But I think that, especially as Black women, part of as we get to off topic, but this impacts our health, not just mentally, but physically. This go. Listen, I'm watching my mother say how she needs to get back to work. I'm watching her say with pride how she works 2 jobs at 70 years old. I'm saying to her, this is a time for people to take care of you. I'm watching her say, no, so-and-so can't come up. They've got other things to do. I'm looking at her, saying, I can't just do nothing. What am I going to do? You could volunteer. You could go hang out. You can rest. And she has no concept of what it means to rest. And that is so many of us. We don't know what it means to rest. Who and what are we doing all this for then? If it's because it can't be for us. I don't know.
And that's that whole new thing too. Go ahead, Shelly.
When my dad was dying, one of the things he told me was, do not let your mother retire any sooner than she has to. He said, as soon as she retires, she's not going to know what to do with herself. She's not going to know how to live her life. She's not, like, pretty much what you're saying. He's like, she's going to be a wreck when she's not working. She has not been enjoying retirement. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to use her brain. She doesn't feel like she has a purpose. She doesn't want to go volunteer. She doesn't want to go do all those things. And when I tell you, my mother has a computer brain. If you ask her about an event, her medicine, her whatever, she will give you day, time, amount. She's got a log that she writes down, and she has one in her brain. When she goes to the doctor's office and they try to do that child thing, let me talk to your child and see what you're up to. I got, she's right there. Mrs. Carter is in the building. And then when she starts rattling it off, but then let me say, let's go to the beach. Let's go to the movies. Let's go. She didn't want to go anywhere. And I know we're recording, so family, friends, call my mama, say hi. But it's just, she had such an exciting and vibrant life, and she put all of her energy into her career, and she was amazing at it. We put so much into our work and not enough into ourselves. And without our work, we don't feel like ourselves. But we are not our jobs. We are not our careers.
No.
Well, Dr. J, you said that, it's hard for you to rest. And so what drives you? Is it because I hear where Maisha's coming from, and Dr. J, I resonated with a lot of what you said, because I feel like I'm right in the middle. I want to rest, but sometimes I'm like, there's still stuff to do. So what drives you? Do you feel like you're living up to the standards or expectations of you working to get some kind of a lifestyle or live a type of way that society said that we need to live? Or is it what you enjoy to do?
It's me. It's what I enjoy. It's me wanting to do what I want to do when I want to do it. To me, having certain things is freedom. It gives me the freedom to do what I want to do. And it's my expectations of me. Now, do I have a barometer? Do I have something that I look back on? Yes. Like I said, my mom was a professional model. She was also a nurse. We had a lot we did and had a lot of things. So when all of that was gone, in my mind, I'm working back to that. That's what my thing is. Of course, I've worked back to that, but I enjoy my creature comforts. I enjoy being able to travel whenever I want to. I enjoy being able to go get something that I might want and have no restrictions. Those are the things that I enjoy. And so I might make a barometer for myself, and I reach it and I keep moving. That's just what I like. That's just what works for me. Not and maybe I'm sure society has put whatever on there and I'm doing something unconsciously, but for me, it's all about me. It's about what I like. It's about how I want to show up in the world. That's just me.
And I think even for me, I'm seasonal. Baby, I'm seasonal all the way around.
You know what? I think I'm a little seasonal too.
All women are seasonal.
Because
we just have not tapped into that.
You got to figure it out. Because like what I was just saying, like I have my moments where I'm just like, I don't want to do nothing. Like, just let me rest. Let me get my life together. Like, just let me be. Hire somebody to come clean up or something. I don't know. But then I have moments like, and you guys have seen it, where I'm like, hey, let's do this. Like,
Yes.
let's knock it out. What you talking about? Why are you complaining? Like,
Right.
we gotta do. Like, but you get what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that it's the harmonization of it, right? It comes in waves and groves, and you got to be okay with it coming and going. And I think so many people are where in their mind it always has to be up here,
And
I'm okay with it not being up there. Like, no ma'am, we're not.
And to your point, Jamika and Carmel, to me, when I say it's hard for me to take a nap, rest is not always sleeping for me.
Right.
Rest may be something. I mean, to me, it's journaling, it's reading, it's meditation, it's going to, the beach or whatever. It's not always sleeping. So as far as taking a nap, to me, sometimes, and I'm judging myself. I am judging myself, just like Maisha said. If I'm taking a nap, dang, I'm missing out on doing X, Y, or Z. So that's what that is. Forget you, Maisha.
Look. There are whole experiences that some of y'all have had that I haven't had. Like, you're right. I can't say that you don't have to work twice as hard. I don't know what that is. I don't. And there was no way I was going to. Like, I know me. I
went to an all-white school, all white everything. I didn't do white. I didn't do a black college. I didn't do it always. And
I just never felt that. I remember when I went from junior high school to high school, and they were like, your A's here are going to be C's in the high school, so you'll have to work extra hard for your A. It just never resonated with me. I was like, they're just going to get the grades they like. It was because I wasn't driven to have to do that. So that part didn't resonate with me. So even if I was in corporate America, that part probably wouldn't resonate with me, because look, y'all, I'm gonna do my work. But you're not about to squeeze me, like a whole entire lemon. But I get that.
And I have a voice, though. I also have a voice, and you're not going to squeeze me either.
Well, I know you. I know you. Now, we talking to the
right.
So
we already know that we already heard your story, Dr. Demesia. We know that ain't happening.
But those are our two boundaries, and that's some of the things. That's why these words become trigger words, or those key words nowadays, because people have seen what that looked like. Like, so imagine, your parents, or your parents, you now have your kids. Your kids have seen their grandparents. They see the parents, and they're just like, no, ma'am. Like, for me, I know what hard work looks like, and I definitely work hard. You get what I'm saying? But I also got to balance that bad boy out. And I'm just like, no, ma'am. Like, and people ask, they'll be like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm busy, honey. I'm so busy. And I'll be here sitting on this couch. I ain't watching no TV. I ain't doing that. I might get on the phone and scroll through social media a little bit, but I would be sitting here just doing nothing. And the thing about it is, I need all of that, because I know how I regenerate and whatever, energize. I'm trying to remix two words together.
Re-energize.
Right. So
regenerize.
So for me, I
put that on a t-shirt. Write that down.
Right.
Write that down, Shelly.
I have to do my own thing. Like, I have to have time to myself. And people will be like, well, why aren't you answering your phone? Well, I used to do that. I was answering the phone for everybody. And now I'm learning that phone will look at me, and I'm gonna look at it, and it'll look at me, and I'm gonna look at it, and I'm gonna be like, is they done? Because I can't, like, really, it's draining. Just like what Maisha was saying, like, being on the phone, and doing our morning show, that's one thing. Getting out in front of this camera, it's a whole nother energy that has to be expelled. Like, I was literally like laying in bed, like, bruh, we just need to be on Clubhouse today, because I'm not feeling it. I'm tired.
That's how I felt at 6:30 this morning when I opened my eyes.
Girl, I was ready to tell y'all, and I was like, suck it up, buttercup. Like, I be having all of that in my head at the same time. But like I say, like,
but society made you come up on here and show up.
Oh, see that shit?
It's the truth. Think about it. Because we said something and we want to be.
Society says you need to get your S together, and that's
And
fine.
Black Coffee,
because I
Honey, and
know where
Grits
I
said
want
the
to
same
be.
thing. That's why you here.
Right, but I know where I want to be too. So it's the balance. Like I said before, it's the balancing of it. You know that at the end of the day, you want a podcast, you want a TV show, you want da 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 da, you want all the things. So where's the sacrifice? Because at the end of the day, I've been sacrificing a lot in my life, and people be like, "Well, you're too young to say that." No. Sis sacrificed a lot in her life, and where has it gotten me? I'm sacrificing doing things for other people because other people said it should be done this way. And I was sick, I was in the hospital, I was doing all these things, right? Because they said it and it wasn't what I want. So now my sacrifice is for myself and what I want to do, what my dream looks like now. So you still have to work, but balancing out that workaholic, like you relax and allow yourself to heal, and you have boundaries, and you stick to it, because it's that stick to itness that is what's going to do it on both sides, right? On the resting side and on the working side.
Well, y'all know I've been glowing and flowing.
Yeah, listen. Let me say, when I first met Dr. Jamisa on Clubhouse, like I can and like I said, part of this is it's to this balance, right? And like we like she said, we're on opposite ends. So I learned so much from her to come over here, because my life just being disarray, because I'm like, hey, I'm not being depressed. I don't care. It's all going to the wayside. But but I could feel like when we were in the other room before, like I could feel me saying stuff, and Dr. Jamisa be looking. I could feel like her looking at me like, she just wasted that time like that. Like she but it's kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I could try a little something.
They should be like, I ain't getting up before 6. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing that. I was like, girl, I'm over here struggling, and you sitting up here talking about the look. Her glow and flow always was glowing and flowing, honey. I was just sitting up here like, girl,
it is because the reason why, and like I said, it's sometimes to my detriment, right? So I haven't completely swung back the other way. For me, growing up, understand, my parents were very activist parents, and I was told from very young, or given the message like, I'm here to save Black people. Okay, you are highly intelligent. You are going to go out into the world. You are going to do all these things. You are responsible for your race. You're responsible for every single person. Every time you walk out of the house, you represent all Black women. You must always carry yourself this way. And it was, I every time somebody saw me, they saw a Black woman. I gotta act a certain way to make sure. I was given so much of that as a child. But when I got to high school and saw everybody doing stuff, I was like, oh my God, okay, maybe I don't have to do that. And then getting depressed, it's like, my mind, I think, we're just kind of twisted inside out. And I threw the baby out with all the bathwater, and I was like the meme, like all the papers up in the air. And it's like, I'm not doing shit. None of what y'all say. Like I said, if there's a box, I'm burning it. It's not gonna be in nothing. But that also comes at great sacrifice. I'm not gonna sit here and say that's the path for everyone to go down. No, that also meant I had no damn money, right? Because you can't stick it to the man and get paid at the same time, right? So it meant that I lived a good portion of my adult life like really trying to scrape by, and that's not mentally healthy either. So there really is a balance to be found somewhere, where I had to learn I'm not responsible for all Black people. Hell, I'm barely trying to be responsible for myself. And how do I instill some discipline? Because I threw it all out because it was so overwhelming for me. Another child, great. For me, I'm so artsy and creative. It was too much for me. How do I find some of that discipline? And I'll be honest, it really wasn't until I met y'all or got a little bit on Clubhouse where some of that started to come back into my life. And that was all of 3 days ago. Right. So I'm learning to bring this balance in, but with wisdom, which is what's helpful.
Yeah.
While you're talking, the word came to me is the burden of a legacy.
Yes. For sure.
And that's what we carry a lot of the times as Black women, because it's this idea that you're a woman, right? You're the woman, right? And so you birth in legacy. And so you're burdened with being the best all the time. especially as Black women. Like, you have to be strong, you have to be tenacious, you have to be, all these things. And it's like, you can't show weakness, you can't be vulnerable, and it's like, all of those things are false narratives, because where I find my strength is in my vulnerability, right? Where I find my strength is in the quote unquote weakness of me, and being able to accept the fact that the thing, like they say, the things are going to fall apart, but as it's falling apart, it's falling into place, and in those pieces are falling where they need to be. And I tell people all the time, sometimes it's really is about the surrender of a thing, the surrendering of it, and just being, right, and understanding that you can rest and everything that's going to happen will still happen for you while you're resting. But understand that because you've done the work, right? And so a lot of people, they feel like, oh, well, these people, they do it too easy, they always resting, they always da da da. But in that rest, when you set a thing, and I think this it works with prayer, it works for affirmations, it works as a mindset. Once you say it, because your word is what sends out the vibration through life, right? Your word and your breath is what is the creator. Once you say it and you leave it be, you don't counteract it, you don't talk against it or whatever else, it allows things to flow within the universe. What we do is we resist all things, because we say it, then we counteract it, then we try to do something, we try to manipulate the situation. We don't just allow things to be and enjoy the journey. It's always, this is how it has to do, and I got to figure it out, and got to be structured, and blah blah blah. And school does that for us. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
when you went to school, it's like, well, how did you get that math problem? Show me your work. Da 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 da. And it's like, I don't know. I knew the answer. Like, ain't the answer right? If it's right, then why you bothering me?
I hated that, because that was me. And it was like, show me your work. And I'm like, I don't know if I can show you how I got the answer, but is it right?
Right.
But I gotta do your steps, because this is how I got it.
and that's the thing, is that I feel like that was right now, like the big aha. You have the problem, you have the solution. Getting from point A to point B is going to be different for everybody.
Yes.
And what school does is they teach you, this is how we know it to be, so you need to fall in line with these orders. And it's like, that order doesn't go with what's going on in my mind. And now that I have to learn that, I'm confused, and now my answer is going to be wrong, because
now I don't trust how I do it.
Right.
I can only do it your way. I can't trust me to find the answer on my own. Now I got to always look to somebody else to help me figure it out.
Right. And like you said, that was that whole thing when we were talking about, understanding what's the message, like what's being received, what people are saying to you, because people are telling you got to do it this way. No, you just told me I need to be successful. So I need to understand what the success looks like for me. And I need to go after that. And you can't control how that turns out, because I might need to get my ass whooped through life so that I can be successful over here. And what a lot of people do, and we talked about this once before, is a lot of people want to save you from the ass whooping. And it's like, you can't save everybody just because that makes you uncomfortable, as you're watching me get beat up. Because sis ain't going to jump in no fight for you. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to make sure ain't nobody else going to jump in. But you're going to probably get that ass whooping by yourself, because you shouldn't have did what you did. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. I'm too cute. But it's that delivery. Like, people have to be mindful of the delivery and not be forceful. And that makes me also think about when I watched The Little Mermaid. You know what I'm saying? And Trident, the daddy, is like, stay away from the humans. You know what I'm saying? And she's inquisitive. She got all these questions. Why is it this? Why is that? Nobody's trying to have that conversation. It's just do as I say. And we have that in our lives where people are just like, do as I say. And it's like, yeah, but why? And people hate to have to explain themselves. And you find that in a lot of stuff. I remember even, and y'all know I go around the bush, but I seen that. I remember that even in like the early 2000s, the late 90s, early 2000s, when people was like, "Don't question God," and it's like, what? But I need to understand why we got to do this. But it's not the not questioning God,
90s,
it's not questioning the authority who was
70s, the
trying
80s.
to, girl. However, it was the.
Well, she's
I don't know.
only a baby. She's only 10 years old.
I'm like that. That
I
was
only been here 3 days.
never question, never question.
But I've been here forever. But you know, but they literally was saying that, right? Don't question God, don't do this, don't do that. But then when you start reading the Bible and it say, "My people perish for their lack of knowledge." Well, how can I get knowledge? Well, I gotta have some questions and then go to look for the answers, right?
Look,
I
and it
gotta
also
go through
says study, show thyself approved.
right. So it means it's gonna be some questions that's gonna be there and it needs some answers. But you know, we do what?
Show thyself approved. Approved of what? Of who? For what?
Well, in the context of what it's saying you need to study for yourself so you know what you're doing is right. You know what you're doing is on the right path, not because somebody just said it. You've done the work, you've done the research. So
basically, folks out there not reading because you know
right? No, people don't. People are so sensationalized. They go with what the minister says, the preacher says, or whoever says, because it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is not always true.
By the way, y'all know there's folks out there. Y'all know there's folks out there who teach and who haven't gone to like any type of schooling.
Yeah, all the time because they feel a certain way.
Just interpreting things their way, setting up a
You
whole.
don't say.
Okay.
They don't know.
Huh? What shall we say?
You're breaking up.
I said people teach things they don't know anything about.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, in business, in religion, and they just start regurgitating stuff. One day I'm gonna do a Clubhouse room where it's just gonna be all the phrases that I hear on Clubhouse.
But you know what, Maisha? Can I just say something? And this is kind of off topic. But sometimes I know stuff and don't know how I know it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
Jamaica, you want to explain what?
No, I mean, but you know what I'm saying? I can get some of that. I can get some of that. Why people do that.
But remember, that's also that piece where we're telling people do what works for you. It's not a problem that people are telling you all these things or people are trying to, come off as that's my problem. My problem is that people are trying to come off as the know-it-all and that this is the end all be all when it's just like, no, it's just another perception of it, right? Because reality is all about perceptions, right? And so based off of your perception and what you've experienced, this could work for you. And I think I've always been that person who people always ask me questions because I have multiple perceptions, right? And perspectives of how things could go. I'm not gonna say, and me and one of my clients got upset with me because they was like, well, just tell me what to do. And I'm like, no, ma'am. I'm not in the bit. Like, I will tell you what to do from time to time, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm not in the business of telling adults what to do. What I can do is I can give you strategies, right? And I can say, you could do this and this might be the outcome, or you can do this and this might be the outcome, or you could do this. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 different things to try. But people, they be in these churches, or they be in these schools, or they be in whatever, and they don't like the idea of telling somebody, I don't know, or I'm uncertain, or I'm unsure. And what they'll do is they wrap you up in the persuasive language, right? They wrap you up in conversation because they will sit up there and politely pretend that it's something that they would do, knowing good and well that they ain't. Look, they ain't gonna do none of that what they talking about. And they'll just tell you, oh, well, you should do this because society says X, Y, and Z, and don't know the first or the last. I don't know.
First or the last. That's because nobody wants to be the one. And I was definitely, oh my God, I was the know-it-all person. So I totally get it. Like if I didn't know it, I would certainly pretend like I did. But what you weren't going to do is what that pressure can do is have me out there looking stupid. Like my father had used that word. Hi, daddy. He had used that word enough where I was not going to be out here looking stupid. So I totally get what you're saying on that one. And you end up in this space where it's like, I have to be the one who always has the answers. Like I have to always be, and I have to always be right, and not given any space to learn from mistakes. And failure becomes this really ugly word. And I tell my children all the time, there's no such thing as failure. You cannot fail at anything. You can learn from it, but you can't fail. Oh, I gotta take this call.
Oh, but yeah, so look, all my ladies done got busy. Y'all just done start disappearing on me. Y'all, I look so cute, don't I? I'm just look. No, but I mean, in all honesty, I have been enjoying the conversation. Look, y'all getting busy and into y'all lives, so we definitely, not gonna stay here too much longer. But one of the things that I can say is sometimes we really need to take a look at what it is that we have been told. We need to take a look at what it is that we're doing. And like what I said in one of the other rooms, as we need to become the scientists of our own lives and get to a point where we are doing an experiment. If it works for us, we keep it. If it doesn't work, then we throw it away, chunk it out. Not saying like what Maisha was saying, throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you can do that as well, right? Start all the way over.
Yeah.
In order for you to find comfort in the things that are happening for you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. It's just realizing that you don't have to accept everything just because somebody told you this is what it should be and this is how you should act and this is whatever. You don't have to accept it all. Do what works best for you.
Yeah.
Understand that if you mess up, that you could try again, that you could do something again. Don't be out here, killing nobody or whatever else, because you can't come back from death most of the time, allegedly. But you just got to do what is best for you at the end of the day,
and what feels right to you too, right? Because we have to really look introspectively and say, what am I meant to do? What is my assignment here on earth? What will make me happy? How will I feel like I'm giving what I need to give to the world to express who I am and to deliver my assignment and to deliver what it is that I am here for, right? So that we're not living in somebody else's expectation. So
right.
I think that's huge.
And thank you for saying that, because I think too, like, the best thing that you can be is to be you. You get what I'm saying? And that's a whole word all by itself. Maisha is the best version of herself. You get what I'm saying? Like, Maisha is Maisha. I can't take on and be Maisha, be the sensual energy alchemist, be all these things. No, my placement here is for something different. And if I'm not doing what I need to do, at the end of the day, at some point, it's like I am preventing the song of, the song and the continuation of everything for everybody. You get what I'm saying? Like, my voice is needed for what it is needed for. Like, there is something that I'm specifically here to do, to pull people into, to whatever it is, to share a message that I have to share. And I can't take her message and try to make it my own, because it's not going to work and it's not going to be as effective. And I think that for all of us, right? Shelly is Shelly. You are you, Carmel. Dr. J is Dr. J. Yes, we all have something similar. We're, like one big happy family. We're like sisters, but at the same time, we're each and every one of us is very unique.
Very.
And we have our own lane, and if we stay in our lane, we'll be more successful.
100%. 100%.
But I think we're going to leave it there. Look, because everybody's trying to do their business. But I don't know if any of you, Carmel, since you're on, I'll let you, if you want to do your outro. And any of the other ladies, whenever y'all ready, y'all can jump in and do the outro. And then we're going to peace out.
So, yeah, this conversation was very insightful. I was very quiet because the perspectives were absolutely incredible. And as everybody was sharing, I'm taking a look at myself to see, Carmel, and I always do. Every time we have these discussions, I'm always wondering, Carmel, who are you showing up as? And I'm feeling like I'm having this identity crisis. Who am I? Who am I? Am I my mom? Am I my aunties? Or am I Carmel? And I'm proud to say that, even thinking of what everybody was saying, and even with Dr. J's share, I really am Carmel, because very early on, I was going in that direction in what other people wanted for me. And I couldn't hang. I knew I didn't want to go to college to study math, science, psychology. I knew I wanted to go into an art school. I ended up studying interior design, which I don't know why I did that, but I was in an art school, and that in and of itself was fantastic. But I left, and I'm like, now what do I do? The work that I do, guys, does not take a college degree. Nobody said, let me see that you graduated from college. Okay, you have a job. They didn't care about that. They wanted to know if I was personable, and if I could go out there and get the work done. And I could. And so I found myself in this position where I can work with people one-on-one, face-to-face, on a personal level. And in that, I'm finding who I need to be, because in there, fitness were rolled on in, and now I'm just kind of like, I just want to do fitness. So I'm not living the way that anybody expected, not even myself. And I'm really trying to figure out day after day after day after day. And I think this was a beautiful conversation. I appreciate you bringing it up, and I appreciate everybody's shares, and I loved hearing the different perspectives. I'm Carmel, working with women over 40 on their health and fitness goals. Check out my YouTube. I yield. I'm done. Thank you.
Shelly, did you want to go ahead and outro?
Hey, you guys, I am Shelly A. Carter out of New Jersey. Your real estate banking and life insurance lady. I sell money via Housing Ministry LLC. Check me out on Instagram at Shelly A. Carter. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Dr. G.
Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer. Y'all go watch my YouTube. Subscribe to my subscribe to my channel. Like some videos. Watch my vaginal dryness video. Thank you. I'm 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.
I was like, well, shoot, let me try that. Hey, oh Lord, no. No, I couldn't see myself to talk to me. Hey, we are at that age, y'all. Hey, it is Debbie Maisha. I'm about to fight people. My mom, they want to discharge my mother from the hospital today. I'm like, no, that's not what we're doing. Okay. We need time, and nobody's there who can come and get her. Okay. Now we're going to do that tomorrow. All right. Anyway, I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist, sacred sexuality teacher for women who are ready to align with their unique sensual expression, their power, their confidence, and create more orgasmic lives in and out of the bedroom, from the bedroom to the boardroom. I've been working on my new website, y'all, and it has been a lot of fun. It's a little bit more grown up. I know. I took a break. I'm not rushing it because I'm the one who race it. I'm gonna let it we're just gonna take our time with it, but I'm loving what it's looking like. Shout out to Maurice for the photos. But yeah, go check me out. Click that link below. You'll find me there. I do a lot of playing on Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel as well. I think my last video I put up like a week or so ago about sexual demons. And I also have a podcast, so you can check out my podcast as well. Please definitely go listen to my podcast. I'm going to do more of those. I really like my podcast because I like my voice. All right, I'm done. Jamika, the mic is yours.
Listen, y'all doing all the things, honey. Jamika has been here
resting.
Studying. I've been resting a little bit. It ain't rest for real. I've been studying, baby. I've been on all these tests and stuff. Whatever. When I get my money coming in how I want to, I'm gonna rest for real. I'm gonna be on vacation for real. But of course, you guys, just to let you know, sometimes we reject the message because of the people who are giving it to us. Sometimes we don't want to listen to it just because of, it just don't sound good. we shy, and at this point, like, we're learning that we're shying away from ourselves. So ask that question to you: are you shying away from who you are? Are you judging who you are? Because we have a tendency to do that a lot. Do you take full ownership of who you are? Those are 3 questions that you probably should sit with and meditate on. All meditate is to toss something, either to clear your mind altogether, or to put one question in your mind and just think over and over again, almost like a prayer, same thing. But you know, I'm one of those people, and the message and the thing that I'm here to do and to deliver is just to help people be more mindful about what they place behind I am, because I am is the most powerful phrase that you will ever say in your life. And so just be cognizant about the things that you place behind I am. And so to end, I am Jamika Anderson. I am the CEO and owner of Harmony and Power Institute. I help women and children who lack confidence and clarity achieve harmony and power within themselves so that they can create the life that they truly desire. And I do so by applying these types of strategies. I do so about having the conversation and understanding why you think and believe the things that you think and believe. A belief is nothing but a thought that you keep on thinking. The same thing, just as a prayer, it's the things that we internalize, the things that we speak and we meditate on, that shows its way up into our life and into what we are creating, because all of us are creators. So I definitely want to say thank you all for, tuning into our challenge, tuning into Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, because we are real women having real conversation. We are here live on Facebook and on YouTube every Tuesday at 7 a.m. We try not to go past 9. As y'all see, the girls be living their life, honey. So make sure that you come back and check us out. Click on the link below. It's all the things to do with Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. We have a lot of things that are coming into fruition because we are manifestors, right? The things that we believe, that we think, that come to pass. Also, check us out on Clubhouse. We are there Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 a.m. Saturdays for our mental health room at 11 a.m. It's some beautiful things going on. You guys stay tuned to the podcast, all the great stuff. Look, all the things, we're doing it. We're women of action. So check us out, get into us, follow our pages, subscribe, like, share, comment, all the good things, all the good stuff. And we will see y'all here next Tuesday. Love y'all. Bye.